Hello, and welcome back to Strong Woman Highs. Life's a mishmash. Today, Jenny has dropped us in it, but we will podcast regardless. So I have very extra special guests with me.
Flown in.
Flown in specially for this episode. It's Ben Potter. Bam!
I feel like I'm getting interviewed by the police or something. The last time I was sat in a chair face to face like this with a microphone, it wasn't obviously in a police station, but it's a similar vibe.
Obviously not, no. I do give off police vibes as well.
Definitely give off police vibes.
Well, welcome back to the show. This is our current... Alan already likes it. This is our current podcasting setup. There is microphones, which makes it look like we're semi-professional. These actually don't work at the moment, so we will be fixing that, and we are using Bluetooth mics again. Sorry, everybody, for the sound quality, but it is what it is. We are still muddling our way through learning how to build a podcast. But we wanted to try and do video podcasts today. That was my plan. We don't like deviating from the plan. So me and Ben are going to do our podcast today because today we have a very special silly goose as well. We're not going to give it away just yet. You'll have to watch till the very end to see what the silly goose is today. It's going to be very
I feel like
funny.
the silly goose has escalated because it's both of us have contributed to it, and it almost like we have to like 11 a reef each other on this one.
Absolutely. We can't, we're very competitive as a couple, aren't we? For anyone who isn't sure as well, by the way, Ben is actually my husband. In case you were confused about why he was on the podcast, it's because he lives with me.
Who else would there be?
Just a random man that I found. Hello, random person. Would you like to be on Strong Woman Highs? That's how we get all
if
our
people
guests.
just thought I was just some random guy.
I mean, maybe. If you thought Ben was a random man, then comment below. Let us know. Did you think he was a random person? But anyway, what we wanted to talk about today is, well, to be fair, me and Jenny didn't even have any sort of form of, I don't know, thing to talk about, which is usually what we do. We just plan it when we get together. So, but I think what we should talk about today is running, because we're slowly going away from strongman and into a running podcast.
Everyone's just running.
At some point, we'll have to change it to Running Woman Highs. New podcast name. But yes, so would you like to talk about how much do you run? Why did you start running? When did you start running?
I feel this is bizarre because you're asking me questions that you already know the answer to.
Yeah, no.
But I'll play this game with you. I have run on and off since I've been 25, but then I stopped for a while, and then we moved up here, and I didn't run for like 3 or 4 years because this was just such a shit show of a house to try and get livable in. And then I started again. I think about 9 years ago, maybe. We've been here for a year or so, had we?
I think it was maybe later than that, because we were here for a few years and we were in a real fat phase, weren't we?
We just...
Like, remember that Christmas where we got them photos together and we were so fat, both of us, weren't we?
I think I was my heaviest and I was nearly 15 stone.
Yeah, well, I think in, like, relevant to normal, like, to everyone else, like, we weren't really heavy, but we were really unhealthy and chunky, weren't we?
Yeah, I'm like 82 kilos, 365 days of the year,
I
usually.
wish I was.
And I was just a big lad then. But the thing is, you can only do what you can do. And we were so super busy at the time. And we were so busy trying to get this house so we could live in it, because it had no roof on it.
Yeah.
That there was nothing really on the radar, was it? And I think I only started running because the dog was sporadically trying to bite people and just being a nightmare. So I thought, I'm going to have to interact with the dog a bit more. And
I think that was 2017, because that's when we got Lumen, yeah. So that'll be what, like 7 years ago?
Yeah, I've been running bits before that, though. I'd always run anyway, a bit like when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then but only like 5-6 miles would be like a big day for me, you know?
Yeah.
Or I'd run like 3 mile and like justify getting a pizza or something silly.
Obviously.
But I think it was really just to give the dog a job, because it was just a bit redundant, wasn't she?
Well, she was just a bit. She needed a lot of energy, didn't she? Because she's a pointer, so it just needed to burn some energy off. Like, I used to walk her for hours, and you'd get back, and she'd just be like 5 minutes sleep, back up, bouncing off the walls again. So
I think I needed to burn some energy off. I was nearly 15 stone as well, so it was probably a a combination of the effects, really.
Well, we both went through that phase of like fitness, didn't we? Where we're doing loads of cardio and stuff, like to lose weight.
You just went thin
Yeah, I did. Look
and
like
weak and angry.
looked like a bobblehead, didn't I? I didn't do it the particularly best way, but that's where you started running then. So then let's look back then, because I can't remember when you started doing ultras. I can't remember you ever running a marathon distance.
No, I did. So I found running quite easy. I'm not a good runner by any means, and I'm not a fast runner, but I'm an efficient runner, I think. I find running enjoyable, and I don't run with music.
Yeah.
I just like to go out there and run. What was that look for?
It's just a bit weird, that, isn't it?
I don't think it is weird. No, I'm just comfortable in my own company, because it's good. And but I think what I did is I wanted to do a marathon distance. I remember this, so I said to you, I think I can do a marathon distance now. I'd done a half, and I like went 7.5 miles out or whatever it was, turn on and come back. I thought that was manageable.
Yeah.
I'll do a marathon. So I said, I'm just going to run until I hit 26.2 miles and then ring you and you come and get me from wherever I am.
Oh, yeah. No, I do remember this. Yeah.
And I wanted to run to Brymore Ice Cream from here.
Yeah.
But I stupidly did it on a Sunday morning in summer. And that road is like particularly famous for like being a really, really heavily used motorcycle road from like Massam to Hawes, innit?
Yeah, it was really busy by the time I came and got you, wasn't it?
And I did it with a dog. I did it with Lumen.
Yeah, Lumen did it too, didn't she? Legend.
So I did my first marathon distance, because I'm not a runner where I go like and do a marathon. I don't like when the Great North Run just like...
You're just not a people person now, yeah.
Just gives me, I did all that running together and high-fiving and like community stuff's not my gig, is it? You know? Which, if it's your gig, it's fair enough. It's definitely not mine. So I'd run there, and then you picked me up from Midland. So you drove to Midland and picked me up. So that was the marathon distance, and that seemed like, well, it was manageable. I wasn't like inside out, but I was like suffering a bit, but doable.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do a 50.
Yeah.
And I think
that must have been where you ran to Massam and back.
I ran to Swinton Castle Gates.
Yeah.
Because to Massam and back isn't quite the 50. It's Swinton Castle Gates and back. And I went and hid or stashed or cached, whatever you want to call it, food bags there at that 25-mile point. So I could run there, empty everything out, and then run back. I think you met me in Massam as well that time.
Yeah, I think I did, yeah. I'm sure
you did, because you gave me the dog again, and I ran back home with the dog.
Yeah, Lumen ran back, didn't she? She didn't do the full 50. She did 25, yeah.
But she has done a 30 since then.
Yeah, she is. She's an absolute G-dog, isn't she?
She's a G. She's just a bit old now, and I feel... And the thing is,
She's 7, isn't she?
I was running badly because I was running with her.
Yeah.
And she was getting... Well, she wasn't recovering because I was running her too much. And you couldn't just take her 1 or 2 days a week, because it doesn't work like that. You either run with them or you don't run with them, or you do short distances.
Yeah, because it changes your gait and everything, doesn't it? So
yeah.
It's a tricky one to run with dogs.
And there's now 6 of them.
Can't run with 6. Might as well just sled pull them.
So without going off the track too much, and so I did a marathon distance after doing a half marathon. I then did the 50, which was to like Swinton Castle, which was quite nice. I ran back to where I originally was born.
Yeah.
Then ran back home to where I live now.
Cute.
And that was, I think I did that in about 8.5 hours or something. It was pretty good time.
I'm sure it was around 8 hours.
I've since done that every Christmas Eve.
Yeah, because I remember thinking when you did the 50, when you then planned to do the 100 and you'd done 50 in 8 hours, in my naivety, and I was like, well, it can only take 16 hours then, which wasn't quite right.
I think a lot of people think that, and a lot happens between that first half and that second half.
I think the difference between like a marathon and then 50 miles and then 100 miles is shocking. Yeah. Whatever you're running your marathon time in, don't expect to be able to run the same again in the same time.
It does not work like that.
Nah.
Your body just starts doing strange things.
Yeah. But yeah, so you've done your 50. Your 50 is pretty like average for you now, isn't it, really? Then your first 100. Well, no, because your first 100 was the Cleveland Way, wasn't it?
I lose this one a little bit because I can't remember. I think I did that the year my mum died. Was that 2020?
Maybe.
My first 100 attempt.
Was that the first Cleveland Way attempt?
Yeah.
Because you've done the Cleveland Way like walk run it,
I walked it for charity with Simon, and then he had to pull out for injury.
Lol.
and he hurt his bursa.
Not the person.
Yeah. Dear. And so he stopped that first, like, end of the first day, but he like supported me with John Cavanagh, and I had the little dog. I had Lena the pig with me.
Yeah, pig dog.
And we were staying at John's house at night. So we walked the first day and then stayed at John's, walked the second day, and I finished it on like the morning after. So I did like 2.5 days.
Yeah.
And I ran it with a little dog. So that was the first time I'd done the Cleveland. And I sort of said to you, I think I could run the Cleveland way. That was like the October, and the following year, my mama got ill, and my mama passed away, and I think I was just full of anger and ego, and I went, I'm going to run the Cleveland way.
Yeah, I think that's how it
because
went,
it was my mum walked it, and my mum loved that Cleveland way, didn't she?
Yeah, she did, yeah.
She'd have eaten about 800 yum-yums on the way around it probably, but...
Yeah, she did it at a decent time though, didn't she do it in 5 days?
I think she walked it in 5. I think they got lost in the gamekeeper, had to rescue them up on the
because she was like mid-60s, wasn't she? She was like, it was like a year before she died, she was like 68 or something. Yeah.
But like she bossed it.
Yeah, smashed it.
Yeah. Because without getting too deep on it, we now know she was riddled with cancer. So she walked it. Riddled with cancer. So like fair dues to her, you know.
Nailed it, yeah.
And the prep to that, I was like, look, you need to get a better gas tank on your suit because
I
you're
remember
out of breath.
almost bullying her about not being fit enough to do it, which now, looking back, is awful, isn't it? But
not really. She thrived on it. She loved it.
We all thought she was just being a bit lazy, but...
Yeah, but she wasn't.
No, she wasn't. She had a decent excuse.
God, this is going to be a really weird podcast. So we went to do the Cleveland, and I broke it into 14 little sections, and you were going to crew me on it.
Yeah.
And I thought I had an understanding then of food, which to this day, as of like now, I don't have an understanding of food because I've just realised that my body is different every single time I step foot into running shoes.
You're consistently changing, aren't you?
Yeah, consistently changing, and so much happens. So anyway, we'd ran it, and I'd done pretty well. I lost my head a little bit, like at Gisborough Woods, which is like about, I don't know, 40-ish mile in or something, 45 mile in, and was a little bit confused. But I put some food in that, and then I had a chat with you. And then at Saltburn, which is like the unofficial halfway point, I ate quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I had really bad like lactic acid in my quads, and like I couldn't move that food. It just sort of like sat there.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't move. And I fought like mad with it. And then basically it just went progressively downhill for me there. And I got to seeing you and Joey at Robin Hood's Bay, which I think is like 86 miles or something. 84 or 86. It was a bit
like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I was just done.
You could hardly move. Like we sort of knew. I was concerned about you at Gisborough because you kept saying to me, "Where's my backpack?" And it was literally on your back. I was like, "Oh no!" And then when we saw you at Saltburn, I remember thinking,
just went a bit. I think I went a bit hard, and I didn't eat well, and then I ate too much. And by that point, it was too late. Looking back now,
yeah, you couldn't pull yourself back round.
No, because like now, if I do anything over like 30 mile. I'll generally, especially on hilly stuff, I'll like whack a gel in every half hour and I'll eat on the hour.
Yeah.
And it's like, if there's a 30 on the clock, on the watch, it's gel.
Yeah.
If it's double zeros, it's food.
Yeah.
And I'll do that all the way through. And then if you can't face the food, you put another couple of gels in, you've got like a strategy.
Yeah.
So you drip feeding all the way through.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that time. So that was the first attempt at 100 and I got 80 something, which wasn't bad, but like it wasn't what I intended.
No. Yeah.
So that was that.
It was good. But then your first 100 we did as a more, I think it was probably quite a like big ask going for the Cleveland Way for your first over 100 mile though, because like the Cleveland Way's got so much elevation in it. It's not like it's a straightforward like 100 miler. Like it's not a pure 100 miler, is it?
It's like 109 mile. There's about, I don't know, 12 or 15,000 feet of climbing it. But I think the problem with it was as well, I don't sleep very well, and I never have done. And I think I set off at midnight, but I hadn't slept because that's the one I thought I'll do it at midnight. I'll finish hopefully within the 24 hours in my naivety. Yeah. And I thought, well, that'll be a good way of doing it. But I've since learned that I'm better off starting in the morning and then having a night's sleep beforehand and getting like
Yeah.
just getting this place in order because I can then have a clarity of mind and stuff when I'm running.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, when you're starting off of a broken night's sleep, you're going into more broken sleep, so it always sets you up badly for starting that.
Well, that night that you're out is your second night without sleep, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to being your first night without sleep.
So you're already sleep deprived by the time you start it, which I think a lot of people don't really realise.
I didn't really understand that, like, how to manipulate caffeine and stuff as well at the time. Do you know what I mean? And electrolytes and different stuff. And like, I have a good handle on that now, I think.
Yeah. But then you did your first 100 miler, which was the circle route round here, wasn't it? It's like a 3.3 mile loop, which you did like
28 times, I think it was. That picture on the wall there, because I was struggling to remember it. Can you remember?
Yeah.
So I would run around the circuit, and we had the car park there, didn't we?
Yeah.
And every time I'd run to get to the car, which was like another lap done, I put a rock off the floor on the windscreen wiper because I knew I would forget. I just go really stupid when I'm running, and I knew I would forget.
Understandable.
So I put the rock on, and I knew that when there was 28 rocks.
Yeah.
If, for example, I don't think I was even using the watch then. I was using like a Strava on the phone.
I think you were using Strava on the phone, yeah, and just like using a battery pack to charge it. I'm sure that's how you did it.
But I did that in like 19 hours, 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it was fast. It was really fast, but there was no elevation at all, and it was a perfect circle, wasn't it?
A perfect circle, yeah. And I think when Rick Boyle come and joined us, shout out to Rick Boyle because he's one of my favourite people ever for that sort of a thing. And the last mile we did, he was alongside me on the bike. We did that at like a 9-minute mile, and that became the strategy then, that every single ultra, the last mile must be finished stronger than the first mile. That's how I've always tried to stick with it.
Yeah, it's a good plan, but it's also an absolute wrecker, isn't it?
I think it's good though, because then it is a wrecker.
You're almost like tricking yourself, aren't you, though, by thinking, I'm actually all right. But then when you actually do stop, you're like,
well, you're dead. You're dead inside, aren't you? But I think if you finish that strong and then you start your next attempt, you're like, well, I finished that one strong. I had some in the tank left still.
Yeah.
That's how I always want to be. I don't want to finish it crawling over the finish line.
No,
if I'm dead inside, I'll still find something to run that last little bit.
Well, I think me and you are both very good in that respect, is when we're at our worst, or like I do it at comps when you're really, really nervous, I would never let anybody know that. Like, you never let anybody know when you're starting to lag, do you? You've just got to keep cracking on.
Well, it's not going to change anything, is it?
Don't let the voices in.
If you're gonna give up, give up. If you're not going to give up, shut up and get on with it. It's just
words to live by.
It's just it is though, isn't it? What good does it do? Giving it a voice and telling everyone that you're upset. I get really angry about this. Really passionate about it.
Alan's getting passionate too.
I can't hear Alan, can I?
Of course you can. Ben's also deaf.
Semi.
Closer to deaf than not deaf, we'll say.
Deaf, not death.
Deaf.
Deaf, closer to death.
Well, I mean, you are closer than me. Sorry.
Jesus Christ, wouldn't have married a month, I'm already regretting it.
Rude.
So that was the first 100 to give myself the number that I knew I could do. It was done on the circuit.
Yeah.
We then went back to the Cleveland Way.
Yeah.
To shake that monkey off my back because it was a DNF, which did not finish, and I hated that. Yeah. So we went and did it, and it was a bit of a war, but I did it in 28 hours.
Yeah, it was definitely a war, but you were better prepared, I think, for that one.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think throughout it, like, oh, he's not going to make this.
And also, as well, I can remember that we were that skint, that broke at that point there. I had no money at all, literally no money in the account. And you went overdrawn to buy me a pack of Pom Bears and a can of espresso milk.
Oh my God, no, I do remember this. It was because I was with Joe. I don't think I went overdrawn. I think Joe had to buy it because I didn't have any money in my account to buy Pom Bears. And I was like, Joe,
by the way, Joe is one of my oldest and bestest friends who come along. She was like with this random guy at the time who was dating as well.
Came in the middle of the night, didn't he? And was just like, oh yeah, do you want some Pom Bears? And I was like, yeah. But yeah, it was bad times. We were really, really skint then. That was when, can you remember you paid for that Royal Mail thing and it turned out to be a scam and they tried to take £800 out of our account and there was like £4 in it.
I remember having the last £10 note. Remember that? We had a physical £10 note and that was our last money. It was COVID absolutely bummed you and me.
Oh yeah, it wasn't great, was it? Yeah. It wasn't great for a while, but we've pulled it back around now.
Yeah, just ran lots.
Do what you just ran lots. Went fishing.
So I went, yeah, and fishing lots. Yeah. What more do you need? So that was the 100 done and the Cleveland done.
Yeah. Yeah, good ones. And then you've done quite a lot since then, but I think we should just talk about the interesting ones. I want to talk about first the Bob Graham where you went blind, because loads of people don't know about that. And I think that's a really interesting story.
Well, so I run the lakes a lot, and I run with my friend Nicky, who's like just the guru of the Lake District. There's nothing he doesn't know. Do you know what I mean? He knows every rock. You know, he's
Yeah.
such a clever lad on it. And I got pally with Nicky because he did a Bob Graham round. You need to Google what a Bob Graham round is to really understand it. But it's 42 fells, 62 miles in 24 hours, but it's got 24,500 feet of climb in it.
Yeah.
So you just go up and down all day long,
Yeah.
you know? And it's an absolute war, mentally and physically. You must be in your peak. And Nicky decided he would do this. I met Nicky for a friend of mine, Stevie Moon, and Stevie said, would I support run for Nicky on a leg of this Bob Graham? Now, it was on my radar, but not.
Yeah.
Because I was just not that good a runner. I was just like a long distance, like messer, really. And the lakes is savage.
Yeah, lakes is a different thing, innit?
And we've done lakes in the day, lakes traverse and things like that. And they're like big days out, 60, 70 mile, runs, but not with that sort of climb. So I've done the Bob with Nicky and it went really well. And he got round it really good. And he's like, got his Bob Graham 23.5 hours, 23, he'll kill me if I don't say it right. So he'd done a fantastic job. So I was then going to do the Bob Graham that year after.
Yeah.
And he would support run me and a load of other good people like Carol Morgan, legit killer of a runner, Ali Bevin, Matt Pascal, Matt Theobald, Nicky would all crew me. But I just got really ill. I hadn't done very well. I'd run the week before or 2 weeks before with you. You dropped me off at Hartlepool, then got to the gym at Sunderland. And I'd ran and something had gone wrong. And we now later found out it was like the SI joint.
Yeah, you just had some sort of issue with your SI joint.
I got really sore.
You couldn't run. But I don't think that was 2 weeks before the Bob. That was before, because you did lakes in the day before your Bob. Like, you had 4 weeks between lakes in a day or lakes traverse and your Bob.
It was lakes in the day is coming up. That's October. Lakes traverse is April. So it was lakes traverse, which is basically from across the middle, and lakes day is straight from the top down.
Yeah.
So I'd done lakes in a day.
It's like 30 miles, isn't it?
No, it's 60.
60 miles?
60 miles, yeah.
Is it? I thought it was less.
It's from the coast to Shap, yeah.
But
It's
just
60.
not as much elevation.
12,000.
No, it can't be 60 miles because you've got to do that in a day. You did.
Yeah, I did it in 17 hours.
17 hours, didn't you?
17 hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Bob must be more. How much elevation is the Bob then? 25.
Double it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
that
it's
makes
double.
more
Yeah,
sense.
it's double
The
it.
maths just wasn't math in there.
No, so I'd done the lakes in a day, which is like from Colbeck to Cartmel, which is top to bottom.
Yeah.
And then the following spring, Lakes Traverse, which is from like one side to the other side. So I'd done like a cross, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd hurt my SI joint a couple of weeks before, done that, blown it to absolute pieces.
Yeah.
Did I then go have the chop, or did I go and do the Bob?
No, you did have the snip before the Bob, I think.
then got the snip, because it was booked in.
Yeah.
And we did that because we decided, what's the point in like you taking contraception all the time and then going to comps on a massive like downer or like a hormone Lanny?
Well, we're just not kid friendly, are we? So we made the decision.
Well, you were crying at Avatar at one point because you were that hormonal, and Avatar's like...
I go through it. Well, it's because I was on the injection though. So then every 3 months I'd just have like a proper psychotic breakdown. And so I was sort of like, could do without this. And we're not having kids, so blah, 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 we got snip there.
Yeah. And I'm like 42 now, so it's like not a problem. So got clipped and then decided I would get in good order and go and do the Bob.
Yeah.
Set off to do the Bob and I wasn't feeling it, but I don't think no one really ever is. We'd started at like 9 or 10 at night, which is like, there's a set time you start the Bob and you start it at certain points. So it puts you on the hardest of the 5 sections at the most favourable time of day for you.
Yeah. It had also been a bad setup though, because so you'd had a blown SI joint, you'd had the snip, the dog had eaten the tracker the morning of the race.
Dog ate the tracker.
Yeah, and you had to drive to... Well, actually, you didn't have to drive, but you got in such a bad mood about it that you then drove to get a new one from the guy because you wouldn't let me do it. So you had an absolute fit and was like, I'm going to sort this out. No one can be trusted. and went off and drove and got that,
No
and then
one
came
could be
back.
trusted because you let the dog eat the tracker because she went outside with your mum.
How did I didn't think the dog was going to eat the tracker though, did I?
I was in the sauna. I wasn't even here. It wasn't my fault. Hey, look.
Anyway.
The dog ate the tracker.
The
dog ate the tracker, and the next morning I had to drive to Coniston to meet the guy from Open Tracking to get a new tracker.
So that cost us like 120 quid and all, which were not great. So yeah, it was like a bad setup of events. And then again, you started on a night, so you tried to sleep through the day, which no one can do. Like, if I sleep well and I can't sleep properly through the day to get up on a night time to run. So you'd had, like, that was the preempt to the Bob Graham attempt, which was not the best.
And then I started running with Matt Theobald, who's a fantastic runner. And I remember thinking, this is a bit harder than I think it should be. But it was okay. Got the first, 13 miles done. Changed over, changed T-shirts, smashed some food in. Toby then took me through leg 2. And I just couldn't keep with him.
Yeah.
And, Toby's a strong runner. But I'm as strong as Toby. And I just couldn't. I remember thinking, he looks like he's really far in front of me. You know, like the red light in the back of the head torch.
Yeah.
And I was rubbing my eyes and stuff. And I thought, I can't get on top of him. And this is only the second leg of 5. And it's like, I should be on him. And then we come to change over and I would see you at Dunmail Crossing. And that's like going on to the hardest section 3, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And we would pick up Carol, Matt and Ali there. And I just I wasn't in a great place.
You didn't look great either. Like, your eyes were really, really red. Like, really, really red. And you just looked, like, tired and a bit dazed, which I thought was odd for the amount of time that you'd already been out.
And I was cramping. And I don't cramp usually.
Nah.
And I remember Carol trying to ram, chipsticks into me and me thinking to myself, there's just not enough salt in these to do any good. And I don't really want to eat them. But I'm going to eat them because
Carol Morgan's told me.
Because Carol Morgan's telling me to, and she knows. So we got onto section 3, and it's just, if you don't know Lady Bob Graham, it's just like over Bowfell, and it's like the surface of the moon at 1,000 million feet in the air. And I was just kicking stuff, and I was like, my electrolytes must be down, because it's like the first sign of when I start getting low is I kick stuff or stumble.
Yeah.
And I'd knock my toe ends to pieces, but the entire time I remember thinking like this, oh, my eyes are crispy. And I was just like, in the lakes, you get what we call clag, which is just low cloud or fog. You just can't see shit. You're looking, and I was like, clag's really bad. And this is on for hours, but I'm pretty much in the place where problems will happen, and you just have to deal with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, it'll pass, because it always does.
Yeah.
Eat, and it'll pass. It'll be okay. And I remember Ali gave me this really scummy caffeine gel, and it was just a really horrible one. I was like, look, today's horrible. And I had loads of grit in my shoes, and I just wasn't really enjoying it, you know? And I was a little bit cold, and I thought, my eyes are bad. And then we got over Scarfell, and we got to a place called Lord's Rake, which, to explain Lord's Rake, it looks like you're at the bottom of a hill, but you're not. You're on top of a mountain already, and you're looking up another mountain, but it looks like you're looking up a dry waterfall, like a ravine in the mountain. It's incredible, and I was so excited to get to here because it's a big part of the Bob Graham round is Lord's Rake.
Yeah. And
I'm going up it and I am just scrabbling and falling. Like on my hands and knees, I'm like, what is this? And Ali was behind me. Are you all right? Are you okay?
Are you okay?
I don't think I am. This fog is killing me. And he stopped and he got hold of me like he was going to kiss me. And like a man like that. And he went, can you see? And he went, there's no fog, Ben. Can you see? And I went, I don't know. He went, shut your left eye. I went like that. And I remember thinking, wow, that's blurry. He went, shut your right eye. And I went, ugh, I can't see out my left eye, Ali. He went, right, okay. Something's wrong. Let's get to the top best we can and we'll reassess and speak to Carol. Because she was well in front of me. I think she'd just wanted to get on with this point.
Now.
Yeah, Carol Morgan saves with this guy.
Bloody hell.
Got to the top and Ali went, you need to have a look at him. And when she looked at me, I remember thinking, I can't see this woman. And she was like, she's in front of me. And she's like, yeah, you've detached your retina. It's all over. This isn't happening. And I went, hang on
a minute.
I haven't detached my retina because nothing's happened.
Yeah.
For that to happen.
For reference as well, if you're detaching your retina, it's like that's like a car crash injury. It's not a normal injury.
It just hadn't been an injury.
No.
I thought, I haven't rubbed my retina loose.
It's an impact injury for sure.
Like, if I rubbed my eyes that
Oh my
hard,
God, where's my
I've
retina
rubbed
gone?
through them. So I said, I don't think it's that, Carol. With the greatest respect, I don't think it's that. Because I'm like super chill, me. I don't get upset, do I?
No, you don't get wound up about stuff.
And she went, well, this is over, Ben. If you can't see,
Yeah.
this. You can't do 4 and 5 of these legs. You can't do these next 2 legs.
Yeah.
You can't climb and run the mountains if you can't see.
Nah.
So we were on top of Scarfell, and we had to get down off Scarfell, a safe route, and I just couldn't see shit. And I genuinely couldn't. And I was struggling with, you stand on one leg,
Yeah.
you balance, then you shut your eyes, you can't stand up, can you?
Yeah.
I couldn't stand. And I was really struggling. God, I hated this. And I remember coming down and I had to hold onto Matt Pascal's shoulder, and he's just a mountain of a man, he's a beast, I remember thinking, I just feel like a little child being led up a hill. I felt like I just really failed, And I was like, this is not. Everyone gives up at Wasdale too. Everyone gives up at Bob.
Yeah, that's if you're going to give up at a point on the Bob Graham, that's
the graveyard of Bob's that.
And
I was like, I am not giving up here.
Yeah,
but I could.
You were literally given no choice, though. Your eyes decided for you.
and I was coming down, I could hear cuckoos, and I love cuckoos, don't I? I love all my birds, but I fucking love cuckoos. And I remember thinking, I can hear the cuckoos in Wasdale now, but I can't see them. And then I heard Nicky, our Martin, shout.
Yeah, Martin was with us, wasn't he?
Yeah, at the bottom when I got down there. It took an hour and a half to get off it.
It was a long time.
And he went, "You all right?" And I went, "No." And I went, "I don't think I can see very well, Martin." And I remember Martin just went, "Bloody hell!" And he swears, doesn't he, Mark? And the fact that he did that, I thought, Martin sounds worried.
Yeah, Martin looked like he was going to cry. I think we're all going to cry.
And I can't see shit. I have no idea what's gone wrong. I just can't see a thing. And the long and short of it was, we got in the car, drove home, smashed in some food, rang A&E. I didn't want to go to A&E because I just didn't want to go.
Well, it was for reference. Usually at that point, as a sensible adult, you should have gone to A&E. But it was a bank holiday, and I was aware that the only place that would be able to treat you was the eye department at James Cook, and no one is going A&E on a bank holiday at James Cook, are they?
I just run 44 miles in the lakes as well. In the
last thing you needed
in the rain
was that.
In the rain, and I was just like, I just felt really shit. I thought it's another DNF, and I've only ever had 2 DNFs in my life, them 2, and that was technically out of my hands, but I just felt shit. Anyway, so we ran them, didn't we? 111 or whatever it is.
Yeah, we rang 111. They weren't very happy that we weren't going to come in, but they said, just keep an eye on it. We'll get a specialist to ring you later, which they did at midnight when you were asleep. So couldn't really check eyesight at that point because you were asleep. So I just said, we'll see what it's like in the morning. If it's still bad, we'll come in then.
But it came back in the morning. And
yeah.
I saw
it was coming back as we were driving back, wasn't it? Like, you could see colours. You couldn't read, like, the number plates, but you could see the colours of the cars.
Just like looking through a bathroom window, like frosty, opaque window, and that's what it... And it just
even you could see your eyes. Like, your eyes were milky. Like, it wasn't like... I could see that you couldn't see. Like, your eyes had gone completely milky.
That's the weirdest thing. So what was it? Was it corneal edema?
Yeah.
A swelling of the retinal nerve. Is that right?
No, so it's swelling of the cornea, I think. I don't really understand eyes, but it was corneal edema, so swelling of the cornea, but that's what affected your sight. And apparently it's quite common in ultramarathoners once you're over that 12-hour mark.
Common amongst uncommon, it was described. But the flex of it is, I do have a secret ultramarathon crush, and it's Courtney DeWalter, and she got it on Run Rabbit Run.
Yeah.
And she managed to finish it because it's like a semi-road sort of a course. Well,
it's one of them that apparently if you catch it early enough, like, and you know, once you've had it and you know what it is, you can wear clear glasses. So it's bad for when it's like raining and like windy, because then you're constantly rubbing your eyes, and that's one of the things that gets you. So wearing like clear glasses, and then also I think it was something to do with like you take anti-inflammatories as it starts, stop your run for like half an hour, have a break, see if it starts to die off. If it does, then you can continue. So it is a manageable thing. You just, obviously, unless you've had it before, you wouldn't know how to manage it.
No, and it wasn't on my radar. Bizarrely though, since then, I remember thinking back, because when we did the lakes in a day, top to bottom, Andy Price was there, and he's a really good run, Andy Price. Nick knows him. I don't really know him, but he's a lovely lad. And he was set for probably winning it that day. And he pulled out at Ambleside because he lost his sight. I remember thinking,
I
thinking,
remember that, yeah.
And it never dawned on me for ages afterwards. And I remember thinking, has he lost his sight? He must have gone super hard. And it was the same thing.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So it is common in ultras, but it's not obviously ultras aren't common, are they? So like, how would you know about it?
So that was my Bob Graham. I went blind on the Bob Graham attempt.
Blind.
But in amongst all of that as well, I'd been accepted in the lottery for Moab. So the Bob Graham wasn't really my biggest thing of the year in my head. And I think you've got to take a Bob Graham serious. You really must. It must be everything. They say if you do a Bob Graham, it's 5 years you're involved with it. A year of thinking about it, a year prepping for it, and then you do it. And then you have 2 years supporting other people that are doing it because they helped you. And I didn't take it. I respect the mountains. I'm not like a divvy.
Yeah.
But I didn't take it as seriously because I just got lottery accepted to go to Moab, and I was like,
that was the big thing.
That. You know, so all of a sudden it was all in for Moab and Moab training.
Yeah, Moab was a good one though, wasn't it?
Yeah. So would I go blind again after that was the big tester? So I tried to make myself go blind again by going out.
Had some longer testing runs, longer than you probably would have done for the Moab training, but it was if we could see if you would go blind again, what management plan you could put in place to not happen in Moab. So then it didn't happen, did it?
No.
So.
Well, I ran a mile, walked a mile for 20 hours and did 88 miles, and it didn't happen then.
Yeah.
And then I did the Frog Graham with Nikki, which is like a Bob Graham, but you swim across the legs as opposed to run round them. Now, I can't swim. So I ran round them and met him on the other side. Yeah. And then, so I did like 49 mile, he did 42. And we did a Frog Graham, and we did a really good time as well.
Yeah, it was fast, wasn't it?
Really fast, and that went really well. And it's like 15,000 feet. It's a big climb. It's like half Everest. And then I did the Wolds Way, 80 mile from Humber to Filey, slept in the car 4 hours, ran half of the Cleveland Way, slept in the car, ran the other half of the Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And that was 186 mile in 59 hours.
Yeah, I remember. I always forget about that one. Yeah, that was a big run. That
big one.
Really big?
So we then knew that after having 3 days out, would I be able to do Moab, which we thought would be 4 or 5 days, didn't we? Like 240 mile.
Yeah.
And it went well.
It went really well. Really well.
The last 40 miles was the fastest 40 miles I did of that, so I was really pleased.
Yeah, well, I remember because we were all obviously at home watching the tracker, and I remember sort of looking at it and thinking, right, with this pace, he's probably going to finish about this time. And then you started speeding up, and I was like, oh, shit. And I was messaging everyone, like, he's going to finish much earlier than we expected, because you were just hammering. Like, the last 10 miles was so fast. It was really good. Solid effort. But Moab was a good one, wasn't it?
And then that was Moab, yeah, which was one of the hardest things I've probably ever done. I don't travel, do I? I'm like
you've never been to America before, have you? That was the first time you've been to America, wasn't it?
I'm a proper like northeast lad, me. I love my house. I love my animals. I love my dogs and my running and my life. But like, I'm not like one for like traveling, am I?
No, you're not a big traveler.
Do a gap year, me.
No, you're not a big traveller, are you?
So flew to America, had 4 days getting ready, ran round the desert, finished in 98 hours, 35th male, 42nd overall. Out of like a couple of hundred people that entered it, I think.
Yeah, I think there was like, was it 211 started? There was quite a lot of people who didn't finish it. I think 170 finished it, something like that.
Yeah.
But
so top 50, I was pleased with that.
Yeah, well, that was your goal, wasn't it? Top 50. And I think, to be honest, I was more concerned about you actually managing to get there than the run. I knew you'd be able to do the run. I was concerned about the travel arrangements.
It's just not something I do.
Yeah.
But like, I'm a bit of a baby, and you wrote it all out for me and planned it all. I'm a paper kid as well, so you did like a little notebook with everything in. Can you remember?
Oh yeah, you did have a little like.
And it was just literally, I just followed like the instructions, like building an IKEA table, and then I got held back in Denver for a night as well.
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you?
And then they provided me like a shuttle bus and all that bull the
It was
next
actually really good, wasn't it? Because the minute you texted me and told me, I was like, oh, fuck, here we go. Like, this is going to be terrible. But you actually handled it really, really well. So,
Yeah,
fair play.
and when I got there, my feet were swollen. I think I was a bit overtrained for Moab. And, like,
You're not great at, like, deloading, though, are you? You're not great at a taper. You almost need to be forced into a taper. Because I'd booked it to force you into a taper. Because I think you were there 4 days beforehand, which maybe was a bit excessive, but I knew that if you were there for 4 days, you wouldn't be able to do anything within that 4 days. However, you did manage to find a gym and still go to the gym.
I just like running, and I think I'm better. I'm better as a person if I run. You know, I'm not a dickhead if I'm running a lot.
You've got a lot of energy to burn off, haven't you?
Just like an English pointer.
Just a bit intense sometimes. You are just looming.
But Moab went really well.
Yeah, it was a really good one, wasn't it? And then coming up, Arizona.
But no, went back and did Bob Graham.
Oh yeah, you went back and did the Bob Graham, yeah.
So I went back and did the Bob Graham this year. Yeah. So I did Moab last year and then went back. Yeah, because Moab will be in like next week, this time round. Yeah. So this year now, 2024, I went and done the Bob again. But this time, I was going to go and do it on my own. Can you remember? This backpack it and not tell no one, do it on my own, just follow the GPS. And I thought, it's a bit of a shitty thing to do because I've got great friends that support me and it just would be a bit snarl to do it like that.
Yeah.
And then Nicky wanted to go and do a 40-mile day because he had a Paddy Buckley, which is like a Bob Graham and a bit more in Wales. She's just gross, if you're asking me.
Gross.
Because the best thing about Wales is leaving it. But he wanted to do a 40-mile training run prepping for that. So we'd done the T round a couple of weeks before, which is like 30 mile. And Jenny did that, didn't she?
Yeah.
Me, Stevie and Nicky. That went really well. I thought, I'm in good order here. I could do a Bob.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks went past. I had a fairly good taper, 5 days taper for that.
Yeah.
Went out there. Steve the Marine, who I met in Moab, did the first leg with me, and we walloped that first leg off 3.5 hours.
On the first
really leg, fast, yeah. And then I met Nicky. Nicky did 2, 3, and 4 with me, and it was redders as well.
Yeah, it was really hot, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we had a bit of a hard time on leg 4 because we were just tired and dehydrated. Pulled it round nicely, picked up Stevie Moon on leg 5. And finished it in 22:54.
Yeah, it was fast.
So got a sub 23 really Bob.
Awesome.
Well happy with that. Then a month later, went to support with Nicky on his paddy in Wales. And I thought, I'll just see how I feel. And I went, might not even do it all, but I'll just do what I think. And just did it all with him. And we did the paddy in 27 hours, which it isn't a timed run, the paddy. You just got to get around it.
Yeah.
You just got to like not lose your sanity and get around it. And then we're like, had a really good gang of people on that with us. And got that done. And I thought, brilliant. They're my 2 that I wanted this year. The 2 mountain runs that are like probably the hardest in the UK, I think. I have no desire to go and do the one in Scotland called the Ramsey. I just think it's miserable, that route.
Yeah.
It doesn't look fun at all. But I did want to do 100 miler this year. But obviously, we got married, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which is great.
Got married.
Had a wicked party in the weekend. That went really, really well. And after the wedding, I thought, I feel in good order. I trained up for like a couple of weeks, like ramped up, and then pulled down for 3 days, and then ran the Teesdale Way.
Again, not a very long taper, really.
No.
Probably could have done with more.
But the Teesdale Way went really well.
It was quite easy for you, really, the Teesdale Way, wasn't it? It wasn't easy because you were pushing to get a really good time on it, but if you'd done it like a little bit steadier, it would have been easy. And to be fair, like, saying that you would push hard and you said it wasn't as easy, but like you were walking about the next day fine. Like you were back at work 2 days later.
The thing with it was I set off pretty strong. I mean, I'm strong anyway on the hills, but I set off strong, but I was just a bit wobbly. I had like funny balance.
I think it was the sleep though the night before, wasn't it? That you hadn't had a very good night's sleep.
And like, I try not to overthink stuff, and it comes right or it doesn't come right, but you're still going to do it, aren't you? I was going to do it whatever happened. And like, and I remember eating and like drinking and that going up like the start of it and getting all the climb done. When I was coming down, I was really looking. I like a really long downhill. I love it. Yeah. Not like rapid fast, but this way you got a good pace, And and it's mega up there. You see loads of stuff. And I remember rolling my ankle, blowing my nose, and it still hurts now. It was only a couple of weeks ago, but it's really sore. And I thought, just done it in now, but I hadn't done. And then I had 2 pretty useful falls in the woods, just kicking roots.
Yeah.
But then it sort of came together.
Yeah. It's like you had a hard like first 30. And then it
Yeah.
sort of got on track, didn't it?
Paddy was at like one of the top checkpoints. I never agreed for anyone to come and help me, and people just turned up amazingly all the way through it. And Paddy met me there and banged me full of food and like morale and all that. And then met me about 6 other times. I met you. You ran with me, which is probably the favourite part of that was running with you. I loved that. And then I left you, seen Paddy again a few more times, and then I knew I was going to see him one more time before I got to Yarm. And when I was going to the last checkpoint to see him, I was crossing like the bit after Darlington's just a bit mingy on that, you know. It's just like you're just running over like fields, you know. There's like not like an exciting ultra, but I knew it was like that. It's just 90 odd mile, and it's a long one. And I was running through this field, and there was a bright light coming towards me, and I thought, this is a gamekeeper. He's going to be a right idiot here. Because I'm like, it's like 1 or 2 in the morning. There's like some random guy crossing fields.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm going to have a right altercation here. And it was Stevie Moon, who had parked his car and just gone Route 1 straight across the fields to my tracker.
Yeah.
And like intercepted me. 12 miles.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
really far out.
Just a lad. And then we ran to meet Paddy for the last time, and Paddy then drove to like Portsmouth that night, like absolute savage, after crewing me all day voluntarily. And he made me a cup of noodles as well. They were delicious. And then me and Stevie ran to Yarm. Stevie handed me across to Tracy, and me and Tracy then ran to the Transporter Bridge. She got a first half marathon.
Nice.
Wonderful. And then I went from there and ran in through all like the chemical area and like pipe tracks of like Teesside into like Warrenby. And I remember Nicky Moore was stood on the bridge at the road crossing with his kid, and I ran with him for 100 yards. And then Jess and Cole passed me on the like trunk road, and I thought, I'm getting there now. These are all my mates are here now.
Yeah.
And then I got around the corner, and I was just a little bit in the locker, just feeling a bit sad, and I wanted it to end. I could see the South Gear in the distance, and then you and Jenny were out on the corner. Ran around the corner with my
Jenny and Ruggie,
with my dog, and then so I ran the last bit with my dog and you two.
I mean, I really nearly out side down because I had to do quite a lot of walking, but
and that was the Teesdale Way.
It was a good one, that one, a really good one.
It was a good one because we got the fastest known time on the Teesdale Way.
Hell yeah!
Which I wasn't trying for, but I was. I knew it had been done in 23 hours, 23 something. A guy had done it in, which is really good. Anyone that does it, anyone that just does it's good because it's a horrible route at the end.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I can do it in 24, that's respectable. And then I realised I was going to do it in like sub 24. Then I realised I was going to do it in sub 22 if I got my finger out, and did it 21:46.
Yeah, 21:46.
Fastest known time for the Teesdale Way.
Hell
Probably out of about 6 people I've ever done it.
No, it's not a very well known one, really, is it?
Nah, but it
was
quite special to me because I love the North East, don't I?
Yeah,
and it were like
it is a nice route as well. A lot of it because you're just following the river, aren't you?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. And then we ate 30 quid's worth of Greggs, which was delicious.
Always the best part after an ultra, just eating as much food as you can possibly fit.
And then it's the biggest ever. Then,
yeah, the biggest ever,
309 miles in Arizona next April. Is it the 4th of April? It's 4th of April.
Yeah, it starts 4th till 11th of April, it is. Perfectly timed in my spring break uni holidays.
Well, we thought we'd do a week of running, didn't we? And then after the event, go and like have some wild camping, like somewhere cool in Arizona.
Just going to do some exploring.
So, yeah, I've got 6 months to get myself in good order now for that.
How exciting. We'll have to do, what we might do is, because this podcast will already have been nearly, over an hour probably, but what we'll do is, if people like it, we can do a follow-up one of all your training routine and what you eat and stuff, because I think it's dead interesting, and I think a lot of people will be interested to find out, like, how you train for it, and, like, how you do your nutrition and that sort of stuff as well, because, like, it's weird, isn't it? People do, like, marathons, and you don't really have to, like, you do a lot of training for a marathon, but there's not a lot of thought. Like, you need to do your training, you need to make sure your nutrition and your hydration's on point, but you could really just sort of wing it. Whereas, like, an ultra, there's no winging it involved.
No, because you just get thrown problems. If I was doing a half marathon, I wouldn't take any food with me. If I was doing a marathon, I'd take a couple of gels. That was it. You know what I mean? And I've got a marathon in the tank generally any day of the week, I think, from
Yeah.
where I'm at. Not a fast one, but I can always do with the distance,
Yeah.
And that's where I like to try and keep myself at. But like, it didn't go well the Teesdale way in the sense that all the food options that I would usually nail, I just couldn't bear eating them. And like, I was drinking calories towards the end, and I know how to manage it.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to eat. And the two things that are working really well for me in the last 3 big runs I've done are cheese rolls with loads of butter. Just the weirdest thing ever. It was a random try. I thought I'll do it. So packed cheese rolls, like your school lunch pack of a cheese roll, a little squash down cheese roll looking sad. And then precision hydration carb chews, and then smash in electrolyte drink, which is just Active Root. Yeah. Active Root, precision hydration carb chews, and cheese rolls are just the G for me. And in Moab, I was doing like burgers. So again, it's a roll, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like cheese wraps. And then when it was getting really hard in Moab and I just didn't want to eat, I was doing mashed potato with cheese and salt in it. Delicious when you can't eat. And porridge pots. Oh. But I was putting hot chocolate in the porridge pots.
Oh.
Winner.
Game changer.
But I did 13 burgers in 24 hours in Moab. So I probably over-egged it on the burgers.
That's a lot of burgers, a lot of burgers. But I guess when you're getting them given to you on an ultra, you're just going to eat them, aren't you? Because they're there and they're hot.
Yeah.
And that's all you really care about.
So this one, I need to really rethink the whole nutrition plan of it. Because I just crave dairy all the time. I love dairy, and it's not practical to take with you, is it?
Nah, that's the problem, isn't it? I think with that one, it'll be different though, because it is obviously a manned race. So they'll have aid stations where you'll have options for food as well, which means you don't have to carry as much, and two, you can have hot food options as well.
It's 300 calories an hour minimum, and how can I get them in and keep them in is what I always try and aim for. And it's that cheese roll and an electrolyte, a good one with calories in it, will get you there.
Yeah.
So if I can plan it like that until it doesn't work, then great. I feel like I've talked loads.
That's the whole point of it, really.
I also feel tiny in this chair.
It's because it's a little bit bigger than a normal armchair, whereas mine's just a normal armchair.
I feel like I'm in a novelty chair, the massive deck chairs people get pictures in, at Butlins or something. I feel really small in this
just
chair.
Slowly sinking away.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a good little roundup of ultras for the time being. We don't want to give you too much information, not too much too soon. We might need to have you back on as another special guest at some point when Jenny bails on me again.
Back on when Jenny doesn't turn up again and we've got no one to hear.
All your fault, Jenny. Silly goose.
Silly goose.
Let's have a quick break then, and we'll come back for our silly goose, because obviously we need the song.
Okay.
Silly goose. It's silly goose time, where our lips get loose and our minds run free. Silly goose. It's silly goose time, where we chat a load of shit that's of absolutely no use. It's silly goose time.
Are you going to start with a beard?
Hello. Well, what do you want to start with?
I think just take the beard off.
First?
Yeah.
I'm a bit scared about taking your beard off myself.
I've had a beard for 5, 6 years.
I haven't seen you without beard for a really long time.
Just take it off.
Okay, anyway, we're back with our silly goose. Hope you enjoyed the song. We're both going to shave our heads. Funny.
Just...
There's no reason for it. It's just funny, innit? We're going to shave our heads.
Well, there is a slight reason for it. I did say I would shave my head to my mate Kate as a bit of a deal.
Yeah.
Because Kate's gonna probably have her head shaved at some point, not by her own choice.
Yeah.
Without overcomplicating things, she had a bit of a rough time, didn't she? So I said,
you're shaving your head in a bit of a solidarity, mate.
Yeah, I said, I'll shave my head. It's only hair. It grows back. Life's got temporary things in it. Don't worry about it, mate.
Well, 100%. I think the whole point is that we just don't really care what we look like.
I couldn't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Neither of us really care about our hair.
And I thought, well, if we're going to do it, I'll just shave it all off, beard and hair and everything. Then you were like, well, I'm going to shave my head because I want to grow it out all the same colour.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right then, babes, if you're happy with that.
Well, I've backed myself into a corner because my hair's dyed with henna. They can't change the colour of it. obviously it's very tricky to grow out a mullet. So what's my next best option? Let it grow out for a couple of months and look like an idiot, or shave it off and start from the beginning. Feels like an easier option just to shave it.
It does. And I did agree to this, but I did say to you, can you just give it 10 days to think about it? Which usually would say, oh, go fuck off, I'll do what I want. And you actually went, okay, I'll give it 10 days. And here we are now.
Mainly because I didn't want to shave my head in the middle of a placement note and them to think that I'd had a Britney moment.
It is a Britney moment. Just start shaving and we'll carry the talk.
We'll carry on.
So yeah, I'm going to shave mine to support
Do you shave
you,
a head?
but really because I said to Kate, I'll just buzz it off, I don't care.
I'm a bit scared.
So the wedding photos have got a beard on them.
Oh, this is quite hard. We should have maybe cut this first, you know.
No, this is stupid. Just get on with it.
Notoriously not great at shaving heads either. I think when I originally shaved my head like 10 years ago, it was I got it done at hairdressers.
When we first started seeing each other, you had really short blonde hair like Eminem.
Yeah, I was bald, real Slim Shady.
You were the real Slim Shady.
I know that Ben Williams will be watching this crying. This is actually all right. It's coming off quite well.
It's a good bit.
We're going to say as well, while we don't have an actual Silly Goose question for today because no one sent us any, so that's your own fault. And Jenny isn't here, so we can't use her wonderful mind to come up with one, and I'm out of ideas because my brain's worked too hard over the past 5 weeks. I want you to tell the people about your badger tooth, but you'll obviously have to wait until I've finished shaving your face.
Okay.
Shall I just leave your moustache on for a bit?
If you want.
Funny. When you do mine, I want you to shave my head like a monk first.
What, the middle out of it?
Yeah, just do the top and do a circle so it's still got the back bit on.
Why?
Because it's funny. I just want to see what I'd look like as a monk. This is actually quite long, to be fair. We probably could have bear bladed this. What a beard there. Gross. Oh god, I'm going to get that white finger from using a vibrating thing on my hand for so long. Oh, what if I chop your ear off? There's just some random long hairs that won't go. Don't want to shave you. Ears or lips off. That would be bad, wouldn't it? Wow. I think you should keep the stash.
The thing is, when I have a shave like this, it's quite a flex because I generally look about 5 years younger. I think the beard does put a few years on me.
I don't think it does, you know.
Stephen Breen the other day said to me, his birthday's on the 14th of November, mine's on the 12th.
Yeah.
And he's like, but we aren't the same age, so you're way older than me. I was like, rude.
Just put your head up a little bit so I can get this long bit on your neck.
And I was like, well, I'm 42, I'll be 43 this year. But yeah, he said, you look older than me. You look 43. And I remember thinking,
you cheeky bastard.
I thought, well, I don't think I did. I thought I looked all right, me, until that.
I don't think you look 43. Well, I always go off of the fact that no one really knows that we have a really big age gap between us. But that could just be down to the fact that I've had a really hard paper round. Because I definitely don't look my age, but not in a good way.
I don't know. I just think we're quite hard to age because, like,
We've had such hard lives.
I've had a harder life. I'm just having a life where I've been outside more than I've been inside, I think.
Right, I've chopped a lot of your beard off. I mean, it's a bit patchy, but I'm going to have to turn it off. My hands are hurting.
Right, just take that guard off and just whip it off, bare blade.
You sure?
Yeah, we're going to end up taking up too much time.
Nah, it's too late. We've already given up on the fucking guards. Take it off. Ooh, did you hear that click?
Yeah, careful. It's all right.
Right.
Don't do that.
Oh, that's like an extra guard, isn't it?
There you go.
Oh.
Now you can cut me, to be careful.
God, don't say that. This is terrifying. I might have to speed this up and cut some bits out of the silly goose in.
What do you reckon?
Well, I feel like it's going to take me years.
I'm going to buzz yours off in seconds. You're going to look like Will Smith's wife.
That would be a flex. I would love that.
Well, yeah.
I hope so, yeah. I don't think I am. I think I'm going to look like an orphan child. Hold your horses. Remember, this is on a podcast and I'll have to cut any silly bits out that you say.
Matt, I wasn't going to say anything to you. I was just thinking, why do orphan children all have shaved heads?
Don't know. I'm thinking of like Oliver Twist.
All right. Oh, a child in an orphanage.
Careful. Yeah, like a Victorian age child.
Yeah, that was something you didn't get headlights, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, good shout as well. At least we won't have headlights. I think you're going to have to do this bit for me because I'm so scared I'm going to chop your face off. And wear it like a mask.
If you were my hairdresser, you'd scare me.
I don't think I'd make a very good hairdresser. Not great at small talk either.
Well, you're cutting my hair like what a dog groomer cuts someone's hair. Look how you're holding my head. Why are you holding my head like that?
Right,
With your massive, powerful, strong hands.
That's close enough.
Right, get the haircut then. I'll tell you the story if you want.
Tell us the badger tooth story.
It's not that... I don't know, really.
Why are you clenching your eyes like that? Is it hurting?
No.
All right.
When I was younger, I had no money for dental stuff. But I had to have I think they call it a crown. And they put a gold crown on one of my teeth. And that cost me a fortune. So I didn't pay the dentist. I just bumped him and ran.
Cheeky.
Yeah, but I was young. I didn't have any money at all.
You've outed yourself now. Them dentists will be coming back to find you on TikTok.
Well, actually, that dentist, years later, I paid him by giving him a dog.
Oh, fair enough then.
Yeah, he's dead now anyway. He's not alive, so I can say this. Anyway, that dentist, who I bumped for the gold tooth, I couldn't go back there years later when the tooth fell out. Now, it fell out because of an altercation. I'm not going to get into that, but I lost the gold tooth and I had a gap. And because I had a gap, I was biting my cheek quite a lot. And at that point there, are you taking the mullet rat tail off now?
It's off.
Oh.
Goodbye. Oh, straight onto a extension lead. That's a
okay.
fire hazard, isn't it? If we ever tried to make one.
So I had this gap in my tooth, in my row of teeth, like a back molar-y type, like 2 or 3 in from the back. And I was biting my cheek. And at that time there, I was working at the bird centre. And we had an education cabin because you had to have conservation links to obviously like do your zoo license and stuff. So we had an education cabin with various different things that we could use to educate children with. And amongst there was some taxidermy and whatever else. And there was a badger's skull there.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't even know where it come from. Probably like someone gave it to us.
There you go. You're like half and half now. Just leave it like that.
No, please don't do that. So I remember one morning getting early and I was like particularly like bit my cheek and just being sick of this. And like was looking at this badger's like head while I was having the morning coffee. And I noticed that the back teeth of a badger aren't too dissimilar. So I pulled one out and it nearly fit.
It was close enough.
So I filed it down with the files that we use for like trimming the birds' beaks and stuff. I mixed up some 2-part epoxy resin, which is like araldite for those. We used to use it for like fixing damaged feathers on birds. And I super glued or araldite glued a badger's tooth in place of where this crown that was gold originally had come out.
Obviously. Genius, to be honest, I think.
Well,
how long did it last? Well, it lasted ages, didn't it? The next dentist took it out.
I probably had it in for about 8 years. And then I had some problems with the dentist in that. And I'm going to have to go and get my teeth sorted out. And the dentist noticed that it was not a human tooth.
Which, imagine that conversation in the dentist. What is this?
He gave it one of them where he looked in my mouth, then he like came away and then looked back in again and like looked like really confused at the like woman that was there with him. You know the one that tells you to spit in the cup?
The dental hygienist.
The hygienist. and he was like, and he like pulled his mask down. And he went, "Could you explain what like they call them numbers, don't they? Like L7 is or something?
Yeah.
You know, like, could you explain what that is?" I said, "Oh, it's a badger's tooth." And I remember the woman just looking absolutely horrified. And I said, "Look, long and short of it was, I had a gold one, lost the gold one, couldn't afford to get it fixed." Because I went for a point where I had no money to fix teeth, so I just had them pulled out. So
And as well, like, as 20-something-year-olds, who has money to fix teeth?
Nah, I don't. Oh, it was like
that's a job for when you're 30.
It was like 80 quid to have it extracted, or like 250 quid to get a root canal. I was like, I'm just gonna have it pulled out.
Should we just leave one bit of rat tail?
Nah, don't do that. I've got to work tonight. So yeah, so that guy removed it though.
Sad,
yeah. Said it couldn't be in there in case it caused an infection. I thought, well, I haven't done it in 8 years. So he removed it, and then I ended up rinsed about $2,000 in all on like different other like just like repairs and fills and a tooth pulled out and all sorts of stuff in end to get my teeth back on track again. I don't have bad teeth. I just haven't done anything with them for years and years. Cost skin, that's why.
Yeah.
People say you should go every 6 months. That's all right. It's either like
every 6 months is a lot of money, though. I'm not going to do that with my left hand. I don't trust it.
Why? You're in control of your left hand.
Am I? I think we're nearly done.
Are we?
Yeah. The head hair came off well faster. At least you don't have to shave my beard.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Let's keep you on that natty pathway. Otherwise, I'll be trimming your beard next year.
Hopefully.
I feel like the Strong Woman podcast has gone very much like a lifestyle podcast.
We don't talk about strong women anymore. It's shit.
I think when you're all in on something like you guys are, like your community of girls, you can't operate at 100%, 365 days a year.
Well, I also think at the moment, like, just strongman is just a bit terrible. Like, once it comes back round, it'll be fine. But at the moment, everything's just terrible. Like, I'll probably get this podcast out tomorrow, so everyone will listen. My Instagram kickoff this morning with Unbreakable about braids, because like, just CBA with these people anymore. Like, you're gonna fucking not tell us what's going on, not promote us. Then what do you expect me to do? Just sit in the corner and be like, "That's fine. I don't mind paying money for this." Do I fuck off? Right, let's have a look.
I'm glad you're angry now after you've cut it. Has it gone? Do I look young?
You do actually look young, yeah. I've left the tash. I actually quite like it. I'm
not going to keep the tash.
I think you should have a look and decide before you say no.
Can you show me in a mirror?
Let me find a mirror.
If I get up, all this hair will fall on the floor.
Well, it's going to fall on the floor anyway, in it? Hang on. Let me get you a mirror.
I feel like Nikki said if I shave my beard off, I'll lose my superpowers and won't be able to run. Oh, it's a good tash.
It's a good tash, isn't it? This is what I mean. Do you want to shave it off? Do you want to keep it for a bit?
It's got to go. Because I'm eating my beard a lot.
Yeah, you were whinging about that.
Yeah, and I just want...
Fine.
I'm going to keep it like this, so admin's really low for running as well.
Well, this is also what I think. Never have to wash my hair ever again, will I? Wash it with bar of soap. Oh, sad. Goodbye, moustache. I'm scared I'm going to take your lip off. You're flinching away as if it's hurting, which is stressing me out.
I'm just going to say it. I don't mind people fucking about with my face.
Do you want to do this then? Right, Tash is gone. Bye-bye, Tash. You might have to just go over your beard a bit, because I feel like I've not missed bits, but...
Okay.
I mean, your balls.
Brilliant.
Perfect! Exactly what I wanted!
Are you going to get in the chair now?
Yeah, do me. Ugh. That's a lot of hair. I should save this.
What for?
Make something.
What would you make with it?
I've still got my hair. You know, when I chopped my hair when it was really long, kept it in a box.
Why would you do that?
Just because I wanted to. I didn't,
That's a really serial killer move. I'm just going to have a quick look in the mirror.
I didn't want to leave it. You happy?
Yeah, yeah.
This is what I mean. I think you need to go over your beard. Your head's perfect.
Of course it is. Like a young Ben Affleck.
You've got a good shaped head as well for someone who's...
What do you want me to do with this like? Do you want me to go number one or you just want it all off?
Just take it off like you've taken it
like
off.
this?
Do you not think?
This? Well, it's up to you.
Well, I'm going to have to shave it proper bald next week anyway.
Do you want it all off then? Next week you need to... Are you okay moment with yourself before next week, by the way?
I've got some hats in my bag ready to go in case I hate it.
Okay, well, tell me what you want to do.
Yeah, just take it off like that. Might as well.
Like this?
I'm going to have to bick it, aren't I, next week. So, might as well just start with it shorter. So it's easier to bick.
You're my favourite person in the world. I hate the idea of doing this to you.
Why?
But I secretly want to do it as well.
Do it. Get all
These
that.
are really hot. Imagine if they stop working halfway through.
We'll get the front off so I look like a monk at least.
Are you sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
Disclaimer to that camera.
Absolutely, take the top off so I look like a monk. Because we all know how funny it will be.
People say to me, go, why do you like Becca so much? It's fucking because she's a ace, right? You ready?
Do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Top off like a monk?
Yeah, top off like a monk.
Fucking hell, this is intense. Yeah? Last chance?
Yeah, do it. I don't care. I don't have an interesting Badger 2 story to tell.
Do you not?
No.
You are an interesting story. Your mum will shit the bed when
I've
she
already
sees
told
it.
her that I'm going to do it. It's fine. She understands. She knows the reasons. I've got sensible adult reasons for shaving
Are
my
you
head.
going to save this
alright.
hair for anything?
Um,
We should have donated it.
I don't think you can donate hair like this. It doesn't. That's not how it really works. I could have donated it when I chopped it off the long time, but actually no, you can't because I'm pretty sure you can't donate dyed hair. I already am so excited how ace this is gonna look. It does my, in the top of my head, am I actually going a bit bald already, or am I all right? Have I got thickness around the crown of my head?
Yeah, you're like 30. You're not like 60.
People lose hair really early, and I'm a stressful person. If I'm going to lose hair from stress, it'll definitely be me.
This is like when them people are like really obsessed with their partners and they're really controlling. They do things to them so no one else wants them. This is like...
Except I'm doing it to myself.
Like, nobody will want you now. You're mine forever. Because now you look like Friar Tuck.
Look at Look at that beautiful hair.
Don't have second thoughts now and go look at that beautiful hair.
Baby! I'm not having second thoughts. No regrets. No regrets.
Oh, she's actually upsetting me a little bit, this.
Oh, sure. Minge.
Look at me. Oh, you look beautiful. I've never loved you so much.
Let me have a look.
You look amazing. I'm looking at that mirror. Put your head down.
Oh my god.
You look well.
I love it. I think just leave it like this.
Not bad. No, not gonna do
There's
that.
actually a filter when we were kids that someone put on me when I was at school, and it looks exactly like this picture. I'll see if I can find it. Bye mullet. I'm gonna look like an absolute hooligan after this. Should probably go and get my eyelashes done so I look less of a hooligan. What we should do is do an auction bid for the back of the mullet. I reckon someone would buy it. If I make it OnlyFans, but it's only mullets.
Optimistic that somebody will want to have an OnlyFans of you. Now you look like this.
That's so rude. People like bald girls. There's a market for that. If there's a market for feet, there's a market for bald people. We look like twins. Wow, look at all that mullet
Look,
hair.
I have the power. I have the mullet.
The power of the mullet. Wow, it is really blonde at the roots, isn't it? I wonder
Yeah.
if it'll grow back blonde.
You don't know.
We'll soon see.
Well, your cuff matches your collar, doesn't it? So
What? Let's not talk about that. This is a family-friendly podcast.
The many things this podcast is. Friendly to family, I don't think it is.
Wow. I really wish I should have kept this hair. It's good hair, that. Good hair. Could be used for something.
Like a cat toy.
See, Jenny could have used it, made it into a cat toy. Wow, beautiful.
I just buzz an eyebrow off a Bants.
No, I've thought about that, but I think that
Put a
might...
line in it like some out of Backstreet Boys from the early 90s.
I mean, I don't think I need to look any more like a man than I already will now, but I used to have an eyebrow slit. It was well cool. I don't know if I could pull it off now at nearly 30, though. Oh, God, I'm going to be so hairy. That's awful. I already feel like I need a shower.
Right, I'll give me a minute or two now to get all these.
Fluffy bits off.
Yeah, so you've got a proper chrome dome.
Yeah, make sure it's smooth. Do you know what? I am actually quite concerned about bicking my head because I think it's going to be well hard to do and get completely clear. And I don't think I'm going to be able to rock the like proper bicked head look. So I'm going to pull my ear down, get round my ear.
Yeah. I will help you do that if you want.
I think you're going to have to. I don't think I can comfortably bick my head. What's this one doing?
Yeah. Because you've got a little tiny fluffy bit there.
Yeah, we don't want no fryer tuck parts. Don't chop my ear off.
Right, lean back.
Wow, my head feels so much lighter. This will all help for my weight cut for Brits, at least. Freedom!
I think you look stunning.
It actually feels quite nice. I like it.
I'm going to go to work tonight and I just know that you're going to go into the room next door and just burst into tears.
I'm not. I didn't cry when I shaved it last time. I thought it was hilarious.
Turn that lid in it. What's going to get your bum fluff, yeah?
Get the bum fluff off. And people will be able to see my tattoo better. You're a very rough hairdresser, you know.
Am I?
You are, yeah.
Sorry. You just look like a massive peach.
I wasn't sure what you were going to say there, but peach was actually quite a nice thing to say, I guess.
Look at me. You just look fucking stunning.
Shut up!
I've never thought Look at our heads together now.
Look at our bald heads. We're like two peas in a pod. Oh, I'm not sure about that. No, I don't think I like that.
No. What, intimacy?
Gross.
Right, great. That was interesting.
Great silly goose. Well, that's, I guess, the end of the
We'll
episode.
tidy my tash up.
We're both bald, and yeah, see you next time, where I'll still probably be bald. Maybe Jenny will be here. Who knows? At this point, who knows? Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.
Bye.